Welcome to Straightforward Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Raw results for May the 11th, 2020. Birthdays: May the 9th, Bash and Booger, 1957. May 10th, Cheeto Santana, 1953. William Regal, 1968. Hey, the same age I am. May 11th, Billy Kidman, 1974. Bobby Roode, 1977. Lynch 1987. May the 12th, Doug Basham, 1971. Ricky Ortiz, 1975. Rounding out birthdays for the 12th is Kushida, 1983. Doing it after midnight on the 11th. So, Becky Lynch opened Raw on USA and announced that she is pregnant with her first child. The man then relinquished the Raw Women's title to Asuka, revealing that Sunday's Money in the Bank ladder match was not for the briefcase, but for the title. Not for the women's briefcase, but for the title as well. Becky got very emotional and said she will miss fans, but she's off to be a mother. Lynch spoke with People magazine before Raw announcement aired and confirmed that she and fiancé Seth Rollins are expecting together. The 33-year-old Lynch also revealed that she is due in December. I've always wanted kids, Lynch told People. I'm just so career focused that it became one of those things that when you're chasing your dream for so long, I always wondered, am I going to get around to it? Is it going to happen for me? Lynch said those dreams began to fall into place when she and Rollins, who was also 33, began dating. When we got together, things started to look a lot clearer, and I knew he was that person that I wanted to have kids with. That this was going to happen, and it was just a matter of when. Lynch explained, Seth is one of the smartest people I know. He's just got an insane work ethic, insane integrity, and he's the most generous, kind-hearted person. He's very, very focused on what the right thing to do is, and always looking to grow and correct himself and be better so he can be the best person for me and now the best father. Lynch and Rollins first found out that they were expecting after she took a number of pregnancy tests in April. The first test came out negative, but Lynch followed her instincts and bought a digital test which confirmed her speculation. I took the first one wrong, Lynch recalled, and then I took a few more tests until I got a digital one that just said the word pregnant. I was with Seth at the time, and he just threw his hands up in the air, all excited. Lynch said that the news came with a wealth of emotions. Of course, you start to become nervous, too, because you've lived your whole life as thinking for yourself and yourself alone. She said, now you have this whole other person that you have to look after and grow, and make sure that you're doing everything that you possibly can to make sure that they are the healthiest and safest that they can be. We're just so excited for how much love we're going to give that little thing. Regarding her return to the ring, Lynch said she won't be making a decision anytime soon. It's just such a joyous time, and then such a sad time too. I love this, and I've given my life to this. I've achieved everything that I want to achieve in this business. She said, I don't know what the next chapter is because I only know what it's like to think for myself. And when I'm by myself, so I don't know what it's to look like and how my priorities shift and what I'm going to want in the future. So everything's open. Lynch also confirmed that she and Rollins had planned to get married at the end of May, but wedding plans were put on hold due to coronavirus pandemic. Well, we'll get around to that. Lynch said at the big wedding. There's no rush, and now we'll have a little flower girl or a page boy. I predicted her leaving wrestling about 2 to 3 weeks ago, but not this way. If you watched some of my videos, you would have found out. As noted last week, the King of Fighters All-Star video game has a new collaboration with WWE coming out this Thursday, May 14th. The update will be released on the game on Apple, iOS, and Android devices. and this link can be confirmed. There's a new trailer for the game, which confirms Undertaker, SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Kofi Kingston, Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch as playable characters. The Rock, John Cena, and Seth Rollins were also revealed for the game last week in a graphic that was released, and it looks like they will appear in the next trailer. There have been a lot of rumors and speculation on Rey Mysterio's WWE status, but word now is that he's still with the company. It was noted on Twitter by Dave Meltzer that Rey isn't going anywhere for the time being. Furloughed WWE producer Lance Storm responded to Meltzer's tweet and brought the comedy. Storm wrote, because he has a long contract or because he died after being thrown off a building last night. And that's from Money in the Bank. That was taped weeks ago. Thinking face emoji. Storm's tweet is a reference to how WWE made it seem like King Corbin tossed Rey and Aleister Black off the roof of the WWE headquarters during the Money in the Bank event. Some speculated that this was WWE's way to write Rey off TV and out of the company, but that report was not the case. Furthermore, AEW announcer Jim Ross stated during a recent Patreon edition of his Grilling JR podcast that he thinks Rey recently signed a new WWE contract. Ross made the comments when asked by co-host Conrad Thompson why Tajiri didn't get a bigger push when he was with the WWE full-time. Ross said, with the exception of Mysterio, WWE Chairman Vince McMahon didn't take cruiserweights like Tajiri seriously. He just wasn't big enough. He was a cruiserweight. Vince never saw big money in cruiserweights, JR said. He continued, Rey is a different breed of that. He's a different cruiserweight. He had that moveset that was absolutely amazing. He was new. He was fresh. He had a great look. The mask is a big deal for him, but Rey Mysterio was a legitimate star long before WWE. He just got better and better. I think he signed a new contract again with WWE, which is good at the stage of the game. He was a little different breed of cat. You can't compare Rey Mysterio to all the other cruiserweights. But because he was that much better and on a different level, in my estimation, courtesy of Wrestling News and also ad-free shows. It will be interesting to see how WWE follows up on the Money in the Bank bump by Mysterio and Black. Stay tuned for updates on Rey's status. If you watch the pay-per-view on the network, you could hear a thump about 2 seconds after they were thrown. So they didn't go very far. I heard it both times that they landed. I said, they're all right. As they had bushes on top of the building set in place for them to go over like a bush wall and then land. You couldn't see below because it was dark when they taped it. Well, there you go. Well, WWE is reportedly moving away from the full brand split and allowing some crossover between Raw and SmackDown brands. The company is set to introduce a ruling on tonight's Raw that will allow for some crossover between the red brand and the blue brand. Huh? Didn't they try that with the golden ticket or whatever? According to Post Wrestling, the idea is that this will be a simple version of last year's wild card rule, which didn't go over well with most fans. It was also noted that the new ruling for the top two brands is expected to keep talent crossovers to a minimum. Well, during this pandemic, and being that the release of all the restaurants are back open this coming Friday. On a related note, WWE is set to address the status of WWE Intercontinental Title later this week, according to Post, likely during Friday's SmackDown on Fox. Sami Zayn currently holds the title, but has been away from WWE action since WrestleMania 36 tapings, where he retained over Daniel Bryan. He has been champion since Elimination Chamber on March 8, but the WrestleMania win was the first title defense. It's believed that Zayn has decided to not wrestle during the COVID-19 outbreak due to concerns he has. He has not been present for recent tapings at the closed Performance Center. As we've noted, WWE reportedly told employees a while back that they did not have to work during the coronavirus pandemic. if they did not want to, very similar to Roman Reigns, and that their decision would not be held against them in the future. Also noted earlier, Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch is set to make a major career announcement during Raw, the tape from the Performance Center in Orlando. WWE confirmed the announcement after previously stating that the man would be there to confront Money in the Bank winner Asuka. In an update, PW Insider reports multiple sources that have confirmed that a segment taped earlier saw Lynch vacate the Raw Women's title to Asuka. PW Insider added that a source confirmed why Lynch is vacating the title, but was asked to respect her privacy until she makes the news public during Raw. Like I said during a previous video, I read a rumor that she was leaving WWE anyways. But the details wasn't in discussion. Also reported at Fight Oracle, who has revealed several pro wrestling and MMA scoops over the past few years, reported this afternoon that Becky is reportedly pregnant. There's a lot of social media speculation on WWE Hall of Famer Sting this week. Mattel's WWE Legends Series 7 set of action figures was released for pre-sale orders today, and it was set to feature the Stinger along with 3 other Hall of Famers: Scott Hall as Razor Ramon, Greg the Hammer Valentine, and Bobby Heenan. When the series was released this morning, Sting was no longer included. This comes after he was previously photographed in the set, and you can see in a tweet from Ringside Collectibles. No word yet why Sting was pulled from the set at the last minute. But the major wrestling figure podcast, ran by mega collectors and former WWE superstars Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, noted on Twitter that Sting was removed from the set for circumstances out of Mattel's control. They tweeted the apparent statement from Mattel. Due to circumstances out of our control, Sting needed to be removed from Legend Series 7. We'll look into include this figure in a future wave if he becomes available to us again. AEW Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes responded to the podcast tweet on Sting being pulled from the series and included a gif of himself cupping his ear that has been used as a meme for a potential AEW signing. Kind of like Hogan. He captioned the gif with face without mouth emoji. Cody also fueled the Sting AEW speculation during the weekend by responding to an exchange between Sting and AEW star Lance Archer. The exchange began after a fan asked Archer who he'd like to get in the ring with. Always wanted to step in the ring with Sting, Archer responded. Sting wrote back and said, "That would be something." Scorpion emoji. "Just glad to see you getting a much deserved shot in at AEW Wrestling," Sting wrote in another follow-up tweet. Archer responded, "Thank you much, man." Folded hands emoji. Cody responded to Sting's tweet and Archer getting a much deserved shot in AEW and just wrote eyes emoji. But that was enough to fuel the speculation among fans. No word yet on if Sting had talks with AEW or if he'd been interested in doing work with them. He was rumored to make another appearance for WWE at the Royal Rumble or at Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia earlier this year, but that obviously never happened. Fox announced that their Fall 2020 schedule today and confirmed that WWE SmackDown will be staying on Friday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, as expected. Fox did not tout their sports programming with WWE or the NFL in the press release. WWE and NFL were only mentioned once during the entire press release, and that was for the nightly lineup. Fox Entertainment CEO Charlie Collier commented on how the COVID-19 outbreak has affected their businesses. The effects of this global health crisis leave no business unaffected. As a media company that prides itself on an entrepreneurial spirit and a focus that comes with doing fewer things better, we mobilize, swiftly creating an entirely new original programming lineup for the fall to share with our partners this upfront, Collier said in a remote meeting with advertising and marketing partners over the recent weeks. We sought to listen first and understand each partner's unique concerns. Our primary goal is to help them back to business. So in turn, the message we've shared is one of relative stability on Fox, combining the best of primetime sports and entertainment with which to help our partners and their customers back to market. Fox Ad Sales President Marianne Gambelli also provided comments on how Fox is ready for the fall season. Now, more than ever, consistency, results, and stability take on an all-new emphasis, Gambelli said. Fox is primed and ready for the fall with a great deal of stability across our entire programming lineup, featuring premium content that continually resonates with viewers and a necessary scale that builds demand and produces results. During these uncertain times, we remain focused on the individual business needs of our partners and will continue to work with them to develop custom solutions with our unmatched offerings of assets to help drive their business forward. Alberto Del Rio was arrested on May 9th and charged with sexual assault, a second-degree felony. His bond was set at $50,000. As records show that he posted bond and was released from jail around 3:30 a.m. on Saturday. News 4 San Antonio reports that an affidavit for Del Rio, real name Jose A. Rodriguez Chucuan, gave graphic detail of the incident. Court documents state that the victim has been assaulted by Del Rio on more than one occasion. News 4 San Antonio gave a detailed account on the events. Del Rio allegedly accused the victim of being unfaithful. She alleged that he became angry when she wouldn't admit to cheating on him, so he struck her and then took her to his downstairs bedroom and slapped her 8 more times. The victim claimed that he then made her put on a dress and dance for him, but she refused. He allegedly then warned her not to cry or he'd take her son and drop him off in the middle of the road somewhere. More graphic details have been released. While the victim told detectives that she does not remember much of the events, she went forward with the photographs of what happened to her. News San Antonio reported police said Rodriguez Chucuan then tied the woman's hands with boxing straps, put a sock in her mouth, and sexually assaulted her for several hours using various objects. Investigators are stating that Del Rio also pushed her in the back during the assault, which caused visible injuries. The woman claimed that she does not remember much after he placed his hand around her throat. More disturbing details regarding the sexual assault allegations against Alberto Del Rio have emerged from police report, which was obtained by TMZ Sports. Del Rio, real name Jose A. Rodriguez Chucuan, was arrested on May 9th, San Antonio, Texas, after allegedly assaulted the accuser on May 3rd. No name was given. As previously reported, Del Rio allegedly accused the victim of being unfaithful. TMZ reports that the victim, who police say only speaks Spanish, claims that Del Rio smashed her cell phone and laptop and attempted to burn her passport. The attack lasted around 10 p.m. on May 3rd, continued to 2:30 p.m. on May 4th. The woman claimed that Del Rio choked her and shoved a sock in her mouth. To keep her quiet at one point, the woman stated that she could not breathe while the sock was in her mouth. The woman also claimed that Del Rio hit her several times in the head that left her feeling woozy and dizzy. She claimed that during the attack, Del Rio sexually assaulted her with his penis and other body parts, and she was adamant that she did not consent to any sexual activity. The victim said she is afraid of Del Rio and planned to leave the city as soon as possible. She apparently had multiple bruises on her face, arms, legs, and neck. The accuser is listed at 5'5", 132 pounds, while Del Rio is 6'4", 240 pounds. Del Rio was released on $50,000 bond bail, and he was also arrested last August due to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. AEW star Chris Jericho took to Instagram today to announce that he will be appearing on MTV's Ridiculous show on Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Catch me on at Ridiculousness tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on MTV. We had a blast watching some of the dumbest idiots in America falling on their faces and ball bags. Some laughed with us at Rob Diedrich at Steel Obram at Channel West Coast. Jericho wrote, wrestling star Paige, Jimmy Uso, and Naomi, and Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch have appeared on the show in the past. WWE announced a storyline update on Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black, noting that they have both been medically cleared to compete following last night's bump at WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view. The latest WWE Now video features Mackenzie Mitchell looking ahead to tonight's Raw. She announced that Mysterio and Black are both alright after it appeared that they were thrown from the roof of WWE headquarters by King Corbin during Money in the Bank ladder match main event. Mitchell noted that Black and Mysterio are both alright after it appeared that they were thrown. Okay. Mitchell noted that Black and Mysterio only fell 6 foot below another part of the roof. She added that both superstars were immediately tended to after suffering minor injuries. They are both cleared to compete on Raw. At PW Guru 65, at this link, WWE's own camera shot of the roof top of their headquarters gave away how they did the scene during the hashtag Money in the Bank match where hashtag Baron Corbin threw hashtag Rey Mysterio and hashtag Aleister Black off the top of the roof. Hashtag Money in the Bank, hashtag Money in the Bank 2020. Roman Reigns tweeted on Twitter during Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, but did not appear. As seen in a tweet below, as you will hear in a tweet, a large poster of Reigns was shown on a wall in WWE headquarters as AJ Styles made his way through a hall during the main event Money in the Bank ladder match. There were more posters on other parts of the hallway, but the camera seemed to focus on the Reigns graphic for a second or two. The talk on social media was that this could have been someone reacting to recent reports on Reigns' WWE status. On a related note, the Money in the Bank kickoff pre-show featured the same countdown of classic Money in the Bank moments from the past. Like last week, the top moment was Seth Rollins cash in and defeating Reigns and Brock Lesnar in WrestleMania 31, as they did on last week's Raw. Reigns was edited out of the replay. Note how WWE officials made a recent edit on Reigns and how his name was not to be mentioned on TV. He was edited out of WrestleMania replay and left out of a Make-A-Wish video package. And here's a screenshot of the Reigns poster being shown during the Money in the Bank main event, which was taped 2 to 3 weeks ago. 2020 Money in the Bank pay-per-view set a new record of pay-per-view length going back 30 years. The official pay-per-view length from the WWE Network was listed at 2 hours and 24 minutes. Kickoff pre-show ran 1 hour, making the entire event 3 hours and 24 minutes. Money in the Bank pay-per-view on Sunday night ran shorter than several events from recent memory, including WWE Evolution Event 2018, which ran for 3 hours 19 minutes, according to Reddit user LTKMK. Money in the Bank 2020 was the shortest pay-per-view since Insurrection 2002, which ran for 2 hours 23 minutes, and WWE Rebellion 2001. I don't remember Rebellion, but guess what? Another Rebellion event was on Impact recently. Isn't that copyright? Which ran for 2 hours 15 minutes. Both of the events were held in the UK. Regarding pay-per-view events in the United States, the shortest before now was Survivor Series 1990, which ran 2 hours 21 minutes. This makes Money in the Bank the shortest WWE main roster pay-per-view from the United States in 30 years, not counting the In Your House specials. Raw results. Post Money in the Bank edition of Raw opened up from the USA Network video page looking back at Money in the Bank main event from headquarters in Sanford, Connecticut. We cut to the Raw opening video package live from the tape. On tape from the closed set of the former Ford Center in Orlando, Florida. Tom Bellows welcomes us, joined by Byron Saxton, still to come. Randy Orton and Hall of Famer Edge will meet in the ring. Byron announces Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black versus Murphy and Seth Rollins. Also, there will be a special edition of Moment of Bliss with 2 surprise guests. Go right to the ring. Out comes Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch. She's wearing the Women's Money in the Bank briefcase. And there's no sign of her title. Lynch enters the ring and places the briefcase on the podium, then poses on the ropes. Lynch is emotional and she takes the mic. She said, "Tonight, isn't a happy night for her because she's torn between joy and sadness. She's at a place in her life where things are about to change. She asked officials to raise the stakes for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and they did just that. She goes on talking about first coming to the WWE and not knowing anyone in the country, not knowing if anyone would care about her. She's crying more now. Becky goes on about the fans and says the fans deserve to hear this from her first. She says she has to go away for a while. The music interrupts. Out comes Asuka, the winner of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match on Sunday. Asuka enters the ring, ranting about how the briefcase is hers. Lynch agrees. Lynch says Asuka has beaten her when no one else could. She has been the best wrestler in the world, and this is why she's glad this is happening to Asuka. Becky reveals that Sunday's match wasn't for the briefcase, it was for the title. She opens the briefcase, which Asuka hasn't been able to do because only Becky knew the combination. Becky opens the case, and the Raw Women's title falls out. Asuka is shocked that she's the champion. Becky confirms that Asuka is the champion. Asuka takes the title and goes out to the floor, dancing around with the title. She dances up to the announcers, stands on the announce table, and is all smiles. She laughs and dances some more. Back down into the ring with Becky. Lynch then says a few more things to Asuka and says she's going to be a mother now. Asuka's surprised. Asuka hugs Becky and chants her name. Becky is all smiles now. Lynch and Asuka hug while Becky's music hits. Lynch exits the ring, smiling some and crying some as the music plays. She slowly walks up the ramp, looking back at Asuka in the ring. An emotional Lynch exits to the back, telling fans that she will miss him. We'll go back to the ring. Asuka's music plays. She celebrates as we go to commercial. Back to the ring, we see Samoa Joe standing with Tom and Saxon now. We get replays of Becky Lynch's announcement with Asuka. Also see Becky return backstage area as other superstars congratulate her. No disqualification match, Bobby Lashley versus Humberto Carrillo. We go back to the ring. Out first comes Bobby Lashley for the no DQ match. Humberto Carrillo was out next. Bell rings and they go at it. Lashley takes the Carrillo down and slaps him. Lashley takes it to the corner and keeps control. Lashley charges him, but Carrillo moves. Carrillo fights from the apron, but Lashley rocks him and brings him in. Carrillo lands on his feet and slaps Lashley in the face. Lashley is heated up now. Lashley catches Carrillo and drives him into the mat. Lashley ends up sent to the floor as he rocks Carrillo as he tries to hit the ropes. Lashley grabs a steel chair and goes to swing, but Carrillo drops him off the apron, sending the chair into Lashley's face. Lashley goes down as we return to commercial. Back for the break, Lashley is in control in the ring. Lashley runs into a boot in the corner. Carrillo flies off the top, but Lashley is still standing. More back and forth now. Carrillo rolls in and kicks Lashley out of the ring. Carrillo ends up on the outside, but dodges his running boot, leaving Lashley hung up on the barrier. Lashley ends up with Carrillo on his shoulders. Lashley charges and manhandles Carrillo into the steel ring post and the LED panel. Carrillo falls to the floor. Lashley keeps control and grabs the chair again. Lashley swings it, but Carrillo ducks and the chair smashes on the ring post. Carrillo with a chair shot to Lashley now, in the gut and over the back. Lashley yells out in pain. As Carrillo continues with the chair shots, Carrillo brings him back in the ring and springboards at Lashley, but Lashley catches him with a full Nelson. Lashley takes the full Nelson, manhandles Carrillo on his feet. Carrillo fades out, and the referee calls the match. After the match, Lashley stands tall, has his arm raised as the music hits. We go to replays. Lashley faces the ring as Carrillo rolls around on the outside. Tom talks about Lashley's easy win over R-Truth and Money in the Bank. Raw Tag Team Champions Street Profits are backstage talking about the Viking Raiders. Apparently there will be a game of 2-on-2 basketball between the two teams tonight. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins wants to vote. We'll cut to Eric and Ivar. Ivar has a basketball and he looks confused by it. Eric wonders why the Profits would change them to a basketball game. Ivar says Eric is the one who told the Profits that they could do anything together or anything better. Eric wonders why Ford and Dawkins couldn't pick something like sword fighting or axe throwing. Ivar asks if it would help if they did some karaoke. Eric says no. Ivar is confident that they've got this. They just have to remain physical like in the ring. They're both not sure what fouls are, but they're ready for the 2-on-2 game. Still to come. Segment. More on the returns of Edge and Randy Orton. Back to commercial. Back from the break, we get a replay of the segment between Becky Lynch and Asuka. Charlie's backstage with Asuka now, asking about her title reign. Kairi Sane enters the shot, and she's shocked at her partner winning the title. They start celebrating together, and continues this to the segment. Tom says it's a video package on Randy Orton and feud. They will be here in the ring later on. And we see how Apollo Crews was injured at the hands of U.S. Champion Andrade a few weeks back. Camera cuts backstage with Zelina Vega trying to calm things between Andrade, Austin Theory, and Angel Garza as they argue. Garza will be in action next. Back to commercial. Angel Garza versus Akira Tozawa. Back from the break. Angel Garza versus Akira Tozawa already in progress. Zelina, Austin Theory, and U.S. Champion Andrade watch from ringside. Back and forth, they go into the corner. Garza takes to the corner, and he's already in his trunks. Garza works Tozawa over in the corner and delivers a big chop. Garza with more strikes and a big knee to the gut. Tozawa takes Garza down, but Garza lifts him and drops him onto a big kick for a close 2 count. Garza mounts Tozawa back in the corner and works him over. Garza talks some trash and turns Tozawa upside down. Garza runs in and delivers a big punt kick, but Tozawa kicks out too. Garza stretches Tozawa on the mat. Now, as Tozawa screams out, Tozawa gets his foot on the bottom rope to break the hold. Garza continues beating on and taunting Tozawa. Garza sets up for the wing clipper and apparently has some words for partner Theory. He then drops Tozawa in the wing clipper, covering him for the pin while staring at Theory down. After the match, Vega gets in between her trio as the argument continues in the ring. The music erupts and out comes WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. Drew says he was just worried and asks if they're all on the same page again. They have some words and McIntyre delivers a big Claymore kick to Theory. Garza and Andrade laugh at Theory. McIntyre delivers a big Claymore to Garza. Next, sending him out to the floor. Drew and Andrade face off now, trading words. Drew says he was trying to do Andrade a favor. They have words and stare each other down and some more. Drew shoves Andrade and the stare down continues as we return to commercial. So we got McIntyre versus Andrade. Non-title match, back from the break. Champion versus champion match is underway as Drew McIntyre and Andrade go at it. Back and forth to start the match. Andrade takes control in the corner. They go on for a few minutes until Drew flattens Andrade. Vega looks on word. Andrade goes out and Drew follows. Drew works Andrade into the barrier and then delivers a big chop. Andrade fights back and charges, but Drew catches him with a tilt-the-world slam on the edge of the apron. The referee counts as Drew salts Andrade on the floor. Andrade ends up sucking Drew in, sending him to the apron. Andrade unloads at ringside now as Vega watches with all smiles. Andrade brings it back in and stops the count. Andrade with a baseball slide into the hurt arm. Andrade focuses on the arm, more back and forth between the two, and pin attempt. Drew starts tossing Andrade around the ring and levels him with a big boot. Drew flies off the top and puts Andrade back down. Drew keeps up and keeps control. Drew rocks Andrade a few more times. Drew catches Andrade with a big sit-down powerbomb for a 2 count. Vega can't believe it. More back and forth between the two. Vega screams at the referee after a close call by Andrade. Drew gets up, but Andrade is on him. Drew blocks the hammerlock DDT and tosses Andrade away. They trade big chops. Andrade with a big back elbow. And then Drew nails Glasgow kiss headbutt. Drew with more offense in the corner. Andrade blocks the reverse Alabama slam. Andrade ends up on Drew's shoulders now, and he can't escape. Drew with the reverse Alabama slam. Drew waits for Andrade to get up and does a Claymore kick in the middle ring and covers him for the pin. After the match, Drew stands tall as the music plays. Drew has his arm raised as we go to replays. Drew takes the mic and says he didn't come out to have a match, but he comes dressed to fight. Because anything can happen on Raw. Plus, he's always down to have a Claymore party. And that was fun. Drew doesn't want to address some things. He says his match with Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank was a hell of a fight. And Rollins brought it. But he won. Drew mentions how the brand invitations. Next, he says Raw extended an invite to SmackDown, and not only did they accept, they chose Drew as their opponent. He gives some clues, and the biggest is that everyone on Earth hates this person. Drew says he is a terrible, terrible human being. Drew announces he will be facing King Corbin on next Monday's Raw. Drew says Corbin has finally stepped up, but Drew promises he will have a Claymore fit for a King ready for Corbin next week. Drew talks to Mike as his music starts back up. He makes his exit after saying he's going to rip Corbin's head off next week. Telecom segment, Edge and Orton are here. Also, the Vikings versus the Profits in a 2-on-2 basketball game. We see Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross backstage, back to commercial. Dr. Ray, MVP, is giving praise to Bobby Lashley backstage. MVP asks Lashley why he's fighting people like Alberto Del Rio and not the WWE champion. MVP reminds Lashley how many years it's been since he fought for the title. All these years later, an MVP is back, but Lashley is stuck in the same dang spot. He asks when Lashley is going to let himself out of that place. And be Lashley. He walks off for his match and tells Lashley to marinate on that. MVP comes across Lana and tells her if Lashley is looking for a way out, come fight him. Lana just screams. And yells at MVP as he walks off. We go to the ring. Out comes WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for a special edition of Moment of Bliss on Raw. Bliss said she thought it was the time to bring a Moment of Bliss on the road. They talk about Becky Lynch's pregnancy announcement and Mother's Day. They go on and out come their guests. The Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, make their returns as they've had several months off. Bliss takes a shot and says they're somewhat still important. They end up telling Bliss and Cross to get ready to defend their titles tonight. Bliss says it doesn't work like that. Royce tells them to keep it non-title, but they're not leaving without a match. Kay says his future has already arrived here on Raw. They do their iconic pose, and Cross starts emptying the ring of the set so we can have a match. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus the Iconics. Back at the right, Women's Tag Team Champion Alexa Bliss goes at it with Peyton Royce in a non-title action. Royce takes control, but Bliss kicks out of two. Nikki comes in, and Royce gets trapped in the apron and double teamed. Bliss and Cross mount some more offense, but Kay levels Cross and covers for a 2 count. Kay screams out and tags Royce back in for a double team on Cross. Royce keeps control of Cross, but trade pin attempts with her. Royce drops Cross for another close 2 count. Royce stomps on Cross. Kay tags in and shoves Cross over Royce, sending her to the mat. Just a little backdrop. With her on her knees, Kay with a 2 count. Kay grabs Cross in a submission now, taunting her and working her over. Kay with a knee to the head. Royce tags in. Cross knocks Royce off the apron. Kay drops Cross, and Royce comes back in for a big double team. Cross kicks out 2. Cross reaches for a tag, but Royce stops her again. Royce stabs Cross by her hair and ignores the referee. Cross fights back, but they both go down. Kay and Bliss rally for tags. Kay and Bliss tag in and run wild. Run wild on each other. Bliss unloads and drops double D's, then back flips with knees. Royce breaks a pin for 2. Referee gets Royce out, but she gets free and tangles with Cross, sending her to the floor. Kay with a cheap shot to Bliss to the throat while the referee isn't looking. Kay tags in Royce and they drop Bliss with another double team for the non-title win. Still with the throat. Referee didn't see it. After the match, Iconics retreat to the stage, celebrate as the music plays. We got a replay. Bliss and Cross clutch their titles, recover as Kay and Royce taunt them. Charlie is backstage with Rey Mysterio. He feels great after Money in the Bank, but admits he saw his life flash before his eyes when Corbin tossed him off the roof. Rey says a miracle happened as he landed on another part of the roof, just 6 feet down. By the time he realized tonight's partner, Aleister Black, suffered the same fate. He congratulates Otis on his winning and says he tried his best, but he couldn't get the job done. Caruso goes on about tonight's match and says Seth Rollins appears, standing Rey down. Rey says May the best team win tonight. Ray congratulates Rollins and says, being a father genuinely changes your life. Ray is genuinely happy for Rollins and Becky Lynch. Rollins just turns and walks away. Ray is confused. He walks off. Like, no reaction. Remember the gimmick that what was they, Cephas was playing? Hold his tongue out. That's all he would do. So the comes segment, Black and Mysterio versus Rollins and Murphy. Also, Ricochet and Cedric Alexander be in action. We see R-Truth backstage ready for his match with Cedric and Ricochet. Truth introduces his wacky cousin, Pretty Ricky. It's just Truth with cross eyes and jacked up teeth. You know the joke, the Halloween thing with the fake teeth? Yeah, he says he's back. We go to commercial. MVP, Brandon Vick, and Shane Thorne versus Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, and R-Truth. Back to the ring, MVP is on the apron with NXT superstars Brandon Vick and Shane Thorne. R-Truth is out with Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Thorne starts off with Truth. Ricochet comes in early on and launches himself at Thorne from the apron for a 2 count. Cedric comes in and works over Thorne. Vink tags in and levels Cedric, who didn't see the tag. Vink unloads in the corner with boots to Cedric. Thorne takes Cedric down and grounds him. Truth keeps transforming into Ricky on the apron. Vink keeps Cedric grounded. Thorne gets sent off the apron, but he comes right back and Vink levels Cedric with a right hand after they trade shots. Ricochet gets sent off the apron to the floor. Cedric kicks Thorne in the face. Truth and MVP tag at the same time. Truth chops MVP for a close 2 count as Thorne breaks it up. Ricochet runs in and hits a neck breaker to Thorne. Ricochet goes to the floor. Vink runs over to their side, but Cedric leaps off the apron. Vink catches him. Ricochet with a huge moonsault for the apron, taking Cedric down. Thorne and Vink on the floor. MVP takes advantage of Truth showing off and knocks out his fake teeth. This ends up backfiring, and Truth hits the lie detector on MVP for the pin. After the match, Truth stands tall, but the music interrupts, and out comes Bobby Lashley. Lashley hits a big spear to Truth. Lashley manhandles Truth some more as MVP watches. He then stands by as MVP levels Truth with a running kick to the head. MVP and Lashley lead to the back to talk as Lashley's music hits. Charlie backstage with Jinder Mahal. She welcomes him back, and he says he's truly honored to be back. He says one positive is his old pal, Drew McIntyre, is the WWE champion. He was elated to watch Drew prosper, but as a former WWE champion, he deserved to be loved by the WWE Universe. Jinder has learned from his past mistakes and is on his way back to the top. His journey to the top this time will be a hero's journey. He walks off. We see AJ Styles sitting down with some popcorn in the back to watch a special look at The Undertaker's Last Ride special on the WWE Network. Back commercial. Back for the break. Get another replay of the opening segment with Becky and Asuka. Baszler is backstage with Charlie, who asks about Becky's pregnancy announcement. Baszler wonders how stupid Becky was to get knocked up as champion. She says 10 out of 10 mothers will swear that pregnancy didn't ruin their careers. Baszler goes on and says Becky is throwing it all away to house some miserable parasite. She says to imagine the man barefoot and fat sitting on the couch eating bonbons. Baszler says the kid is going to suck. You know who the father is? I rest my case. Baszler says, and she walks off. Tom leads us to a special look at the last ride on the WWE Network, featuring behind the scenes look at Undertaker, Chapter 1 of 5, premiered on Sunday. Special look ends, and we see AJ Styles backstage watching. He's not happy, throwing his popcorn and storming off. Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. We go to ring out first with Rey Mysterio. Aleister Black is out next. Back to commercial. Back for the break, we see Becky Lynch hugging Vince McMahon backstage. The sound cuts out, and we can't hear what they're saying, but it looks like they're laughing and joking around. We go back to the ring. Out comes Seth Rollins and Murphy. Rollins looks a mess as he stares straight ahead. Even Murphy looks a little concerned about how he's doing. Black starts off with Murphy. Black also looks worried about Rollins. Rollins is just staring off on the apron. Black and Murphy trade holds. Murphy goes for a tag, but Rollins is just staring straight ahead. Black tangles with Murphy and rolls him up for a 2 count. Black drops Murphy and grabs him by his arm in the middle of the ring. Ray tags in and they take turns on Murphy. Ray levels Murphy for a quick 1 count. Ray and Black continue to dominate Murphy as Rollins hasn't moved yet on the apron. Murphy turns it around and sends Black into the corner. Murphy with strikes to keep Black in the corner. Murphy tries to get Seth's attention, but he turns around to Black, sending him out of the ring to the floor. Black looks to fly out, but he puts on the brakes and he sits down in the middle of the ring. Murphy rushes in, but also puts his brake on as they stare each other down. Murphy ends up rocking Black and trying to get Seth's attention again. Black comes right back with big kicks. Black drops Murphy with a big knee for a 2 count. Black keeps Murphy grounded by his arm now. More back and forth between Black and Murphy. Black levels Murphy with a huge strike to send him to the floor. Rollins is still just staring straight ahead. Black gets in Rollins' face on the apron. Rollins looks at him, and that's it. Black goes back to work on Murphy. This backfires as Murphy rocks Black with a big kick, sending him out to the floor. Back to commercial. Back from the break. Black is going at it with Murphy. Murphy with a shot to Ray. Murphy comes off the second rope, but Black meets him in midair with a big boot. Ray tags in and flies off the top with a senton. A seated senton. Ray goes on with a crossbody off the ropes. Murphy rolls Ray, but he rolls through and does a kick to the face. Murphy goes to the floor to regroup. Ray leaps off the apron and launches Murphy into the barrier with a hurricanrana. Ray brings Murphy back into the ring. Rollins is still staring ahead. Ray goes up top for a crossbody, but Murphy rolls through with a handful of tights for a 2 count. Ray tangles with Murphy, blocking Murphy's law for a bulldog. Murphy kicks out 2. Ray gets it into the corner. Ray back elbows Rollins. Ray and Murphy go at it again. Ray goes for a 619 on Murphy, but Rollins catches it from the floor and then slams Ray hard on the floor. Referee calls for the bell for the disqualification. Ray and Aleister Black win. Rollins snaps and begins attacking Ray on the floor. Rollins with a thumb to the eye. The referee calls for Rollins to back off, but he focuses on Ray's injured eye again. Black gets sent into the barrier by Murphy, it looks like. Seth sends Black over the barrier to the concrete. Rollins yells at Murphy and tells him to stay. The heck back. Rollins grabs Ray's head, yelling that it's not his fault, while jamming the corner of the ring steps into his hurt eye. Ray screams out, and Rollins lets him fall. Ray rolls around, clutching his face, as the referee calls for the medics to tend to him. Rollins stares down at Ray, rolling around in pain. WWE producer Adam Pearce helps the medic take Ray's mask off and cover his eye with a towel, but we can't see his face. Just some blood. Ray is still screaming. Out of pain, Rollins marches up the ramp and just stops. Staring ahead, we go to commercial. Back for the break, we see what just happened with Rey Mysterio suffering an eye injury and at the hands of Seth Rollins. Ray is backstage in the trainer's room now with Aleister Black. Rollins and Murphy come walking up. Rollins seems to apologize and tells Ray he doesn't know what happened out there. Black attacks Murphy, and they go at it until officials separate them. Announcers lead us to a video from earlier in the day. Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, warming up for a 2-on-2 basketball game with the Viking Raiders. Eric and Ivar watch them warming up in full Vikings gear and seem to have the game of basketball figured out. They're not very good to start. We go to commercial with the Street Profits laughing at the Vikings as Eric and Ivar go off to the side to regroup. Back to commercial. Another plug for the last ride on the WWE Network. We go to a local basketball court for Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders. Buzzer sounds and the Profits go over the rules. Eric and Ivar aren't too sure about the rules, leading to the first score by the Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. And another Profit score again, and are just showing off at this point. They want to smoke, but Eric tells them smoking actually isn't good for you. Profits just shake their heads. Now 21-0 on the scoreboard. Profits say they always knew White Man can't jump, but they didn't know about Vikings. Ivar's buzzer beater from half court misses. Ivar ends up grabbing Dawkins by the arm at one point, but he backs off. It's 37-0 now. Ford says maybe the Viking Raiders will have better luck next quarter. It's now 49-0 in the third period. And it's now 55-0 at the end of the third. Vikings finally score and start celebrating like they won. Probably tell them to look at the scoreboard. 74-2 at the end of the fourth. Papa celebrate now, taunting the Vikings for just making one shot. Shayna Baszler is backstage warming up. Natalya approaches and isn't happy with Shayna's earlier comments about motherhood. She's going to make her pay. Baszler asks Natalya what she knows about being a mother. She goes on and says, we all know that the Hart Dynasty will die with Natalya. Back commercial. Back from the break, we get back to the local gym for what happened between the Street Profits and Viking Raiders after the blowout. Papa told them, good game, and laughed at them. Eric says they let the Profits win. Eric tells Ivar to show them. Ivar starts sinking three-pointers. Eric also has some skills. Eric says they told the Profits that anything they can do, Vikings can do better. We get a slow motion shot of Ivar dunking the ball next. Vikings celebrate now as the Profits aren't thrilled with what they're seeing. And we get the match. Baszler versus Natalya. Back to the ring. Out comes Baszler for the next match. Natalya was out next. Bell rings and Natalya locks up, taking Baszler down with a headlock. Baszler counters, but Natalya gets up and talks trash, calling her a fake wrestler. They take her on the mat some more. Baszler drops Natalya with a shoulder and taunts her. Baszler with another takedown into a headlock in the middle of the ring. Baszler works on the arm, but they get back up. Natalya with a few shots to the face while they hold each other, and she talks some more trash. Baszler takes strikes and drops Natalya to the mat. Baszler rams Natalya into the corner, and the referee counts. Baszler drops Natalya in the corner with a cheap shot, then taunts her some more. Natalya applauds from down in the corner. Natalya calls her a B word and asks if that's all she got. Baszler counters and rams Natalya back in the corner. Referee counts. Baszler backs off and tries to trip Natalya in the corner again. Natalya fights and they trade shots in the corner. Baszler unloads with strikes against the turnbuckles as the referee warns him. Baszler with a suplex and another. Natalya kicks out of one. Natalya counters on the mat with a roll-up for a 2 count. Natalya with another takedown. Natalya goes for a sharpshooter, but Baszler blocks it. Baszler goes to break Natalya's arm, as she's done to others recently. Natalya tries to counter with a roll-up, but comes up short. Baszler levels Natalya with a knee strike for the pin and the win. After the match, Baszler makes her exit as the music plays. We go to replays. We see Natalya throwing a temper tantrum on the mat. She gets back up and kicks the ropes. Charlie's backstage with King Corbin now, before she asks about next week's match with champion Drew McIntyre. She wants to know what happened at Money in the Bank. Corbin says, last night proved he will do whatever it takes. She asks about him tossing Rey Mysterio down the back off the roof. Corbin says they're both lucky because what people didn't see was the two of them landing on a secondary roof just feet away. Charlie asks if Corbin has what it takes to go toe-to-toe with the champ next week. Corbin says, of course he does. Corbin says McIntyre thinks the battle with Brock Lesnar made him, but that's not the case. He says Drew rode his coattails on Raw for more than a year, watching him earn his crown. Corbin says next week he will prove why they call him the king. Still to come segment, Edge and Orton. Tom sends it to a Make-A-Wish video. Back to commercial. We go back to the ring. Charlie's out with the microphone for the main event segment. She introduces the Hall of Famer, Edge, and out he comes. Edge thanks Charlie and takes the mic. Edge talks about being his first, this being his first time in the ring in 6 weeks. He talks about getting cleared to return to WrestleMania 36 win over Randy Orton in the last man standing match. Edge says he came back to WWE to retire on his own terms. He says he does know that WrestleMania is not the end for Edge. If we saw Raw last week, like he did, we all saw the promo video where it said the rated R superstar was coming to hunt the Viper. Edge says WWE didn't talk to him about that because that's not why he's here. He got his pound of flesh and his closure at WrestleMania 36. He says he and his family are ready to move on. Edge goes to speak about what he sees when he looks in the locker room, but the music interrupts and out comes Orton. Charlie introduces him. Orton takes the mic, tells Edge he came out here to say one thing. Orton steps closer to Edge, pauses, and then he congratulates Edge. Orton says the better man won at WrestleMania. Orton looks back at Edge and exits the ring as his music starts back up. Edge stares straight at the mat, and as Orton exits the ring, Orton stops on the ramp and comes back into the ring. Orton says he tried to be the bigger man, bite his tongue, congratulate Edge, and walk off, but he can't just do it. Orton says he can't lie to himself or Edge. It's true that the better man won at WrestleMania, but the better wrestler didn't. Orton says Edge made his miraculous return at the Royal Rumble, but a little convenient, as he had the ability to hide behind 29 other superstars. Orton says 9 years, almost a decade. That's a long time. Orton says those few matches aren't traditional wrestling matches. So if you ask him, it's been since 2011, since Edge laced up his boots and actually wrestled. Orton doesn't think Edge has it in him anymore. Edge stares Orton down. Orton says he knows that look. There's a doubt in Edge's eyes. Orton goes on and says Edge's passion won't knock off this ring rust. That passion and grit won't help Edge now. Orton goes on about the story writing itself, wondering if Edge has the guts to face him at Backlash in a straight-up wrestling match. They're face-to-face, staring each other down now. Charlie approaches and asks Edge if he has a response. Edge looks down and then back at Orton. Charlie says if this does happen, it just might be the greatest wrestling match ever. Edge is still silent. Orton is still staring at Edge while Edge looks off to the side of Orton as Raw goes off the air. And that concludes my results for Raw this week. Peace out. See you on the video. If you don't know, just call me, brother, sisters.